It's the Behind the Shade show.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Behind the Shades, and we are going to discuss relationships from the perspective of men and women. So, in this series, I am going to be reacting to a few clips, and this first one is about a lady who is using the dating app, has her pictures presenting her one way, but then she shows up to the date looking differently.
I was rejected by a guy in the most embarrassing and humiliating way possible, but still a part of me feels like this was my fault, so I need you guys to let me know what you think. One day, I matched with this guy on Bumble who was very, very handsome. He was a documentary filmmaker, curly brown hair, profile said 6'2". At the time, I was going through an identity crisis, so I just so happened to dye my hair back to brunette, although previous to that, I was blonde. I was on this dating app, and unfortunately I hadn't updated any of my photos to reflect the way that I looked, although the photos that I did have were just like taken 2-3 months ago. It's not like my physical appearance looked that different, it's just that my hair color was very different. So me and this guy are literally talking for 2 days, we're hitting it off, the conversation is flowing back and forth, and most of the time guys will just waste your time and not ask you out on a date, or if they ask you out on a date, they'll ask you to like go for a walk in the park. Days after us matching, we are on a date, I meet him for the first time, he's exiting his car, and he's walking towards me, and as he's walking towards me, I could tell he has like a confused look on his face.
So, right there, she knew about the person's reaction. And here's how I know why. When the person was approaching her, she realized that he had a confused look. A look of, oh, is that you? That's when it should have been addressed, or that's when she should have mentioned it, that she could have even made a joke about it. Because now that she's reflecting on it, what does she do? She mentioned that, well, I've been on other dates before, and people said that I look better in person than my photos. So in hindsight, she knew because she's able to pick up the clues that he was giving when they first met up. Because remember, as he approached, he had a confused look on his face. He was caught off guard. Maybe he didn't recognize her because something was different.
And I've been on many dates. I've never been accused of being a catfish. I've never had somebody disappointed when they saw me in real life. In fact, I've had guys tell me that they are surprised and that I actually look better in person, that I look better than in my photos. He gives me a hug. We walk to the restaurant. We sit down. We're ordering drinks. And I'm just asking him random questions, trying to make small talk. And he is just being very, very odd and standoffish. And at one point during the date, he looks at me and he says, "You look a little different than on your photos." I was like, yeah, I actually dyed my hair. I went darker. I've been a brunette in the past. Like, this is actually close to my natural hair color. And I was just tired of the blonde because it was ruining my hair. And then he tells me that he thinks that that is actually misleading and that I should have updated my dating profile photos to match how my hair looks now.
The problem with online dating, from this perspective, your photos, the image, the brand, the presentation that you give off, is that you have to be as close to it as possible. Your hair, your height, your weight, these things will throw anyone off because it may be small to the person, but to others, it could change the way you look to them significantly. Or when it comes to a first impression, it could give off signs that you're trying to be misleading or catfish the person.
So then I ask him, well, would that have changed your opinion of me? Would that have made you not want to go out on a date? And he kind of laughs and shrugs it off and says, well, I do like blondes. And that just like rubbed me the wrong way. Anyway, we end up splitting some appetizers on a couple of drinks, and I end up leaving and thinking to myself, like, this is probably not going to go anywhere because that guy was super, super weird. I have no plans on texting this guy, but then I get a text from him the next evening. He sends me a whole paragraph that I never even asked for. In his paragraph, he tells me that he thinks that it's not right, that I misrepresented myself on my dating profile, and that if he's being completely 100% transparent, he is into blondes, that is his specific type, and he does not prefer brunettes. I never replied to him. I ended up blocking his number, but guys, there was a part of me that almost got my butt into my car and went to Sally Beauty Supply to get some bleach because I was so insecure at that point. Now that I look back on it though, did I make a mistake? Did I misrepresent myself? Did I catfish this guy? I don't know.
When you're only going on what someone uploads or presents online, you leave yourself open and vulnerable to being misled. So your guard is naturally up because there's a level of trust. I trust that the pictures and the images that you're putting online is as close to who you are in person as possible. Blonde hair online, brunette in person. That is a difference. It may not be a big difference to the average person, but if blonde hair is your preference, is significantly a big difference. If someone's weight is a preference of yours, it is significantly a big difference. Someone's height, someone's education, someone's financial status, someone's social status, everything. If it is on your list of items to be checked off, and you checked it off, and it led to you agreeing on the date, let's say it was she has 5 of the things I like, he has 5 of the things that I like, but that 6th one is what got you to agree to the date and is taken away, it is significant to you. That's where you have to look at it. Because if it was the reverse and someone presented themselves one way and you really like that attribute, that behavior, or that accomplishment of that person, and then you met them and they didn't have it, how would you feel? That person didn't even give you the choice. They made the decision for you. That is how we have to look at it. Give someone the option to say yes or no, regardless if you think it's small to you, because it may be significant to them. It is interesting to see and hear how both people were triggered in different ways. One, even after the explanation and even after they enjoyed their dinner, they both went their separate ways, it was still on his mind days later. So he had to write that long, long, long message. TLDR for those who don't know. But she read it, and then she was triggered in a way that she felt insecure. He felt he wasn't given the opportunity to make the decision. She felt that she was being judged for something that was minor to her. The part that's missing, if they both addressed it earlier on and didn't let it sit and fester, maybe they could have found other qualities and behaviors that would have been more valuable than this one topic.